Hi, I'm John with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we're going to be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember that anytime you work on an appliance, make sure that it is unplugged or the circuit breaker is turned off so there's no chance of electrocution. We're going to show you how to install a new oven sensor assembly for your GE stove. It's a really easy job that only requires a small flat blade screwdriver, a 1/4-inch nut driver, a pair of wire strippers, and a few minutes of your time. When you open the package, you'll get one new oven sensor assembly along with a couple of wire nuts. In some cases, this plugs directly into your original harness, but if not, you may have to cut the harness and splice the wires together using the wire nuts. The reason why you'd be replacing the oven sensor assembly is if the oven won't start, if there's little or no heat during baking, or if the oven compartment gets too hot overall. To install the new oven sensor assembly, you're going to need to access the oven compartment as well as the back of the appliance. On the back side of the stove, we're going to need to remove this access panel here. To do so, use a 1/4-inch nut driver to loosen and remove the 2 screws that hold it in place. Then, remove the panel. With the access panel removed, we'll now disconnect this wiring harness that goes to the oven sensor. Use a small flat blade screwdriver to press in on these 2 tabs that allow you to disconnect this wiring harness. We'll now need to go into the oven compartment to remove the sensor assembly. And as we pull it out, this wire and connector is going to go through this hole here in the backside. At the front of the stove, you're going to need to open the door so you can access the oven compartment where the sensor is mounted. Although not required, if you remove the top rack, it gives you a little extra room to work. The sensor is located in the top left portion of the oven compartment. Use a 1/4-inch nut driver to loosen and remove the 2 screws that hold the sensor in place. Afterwards, pull out the old sensor. Here's the old oven sensor next to the new one. If you already have the new part, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. To install the new sensor, start by positioning the wiring in the hole that goes through the back of the oven. Slide back the new sensor until it sits flush with the back wall of the oven. Then, thread in and tighten the 2 screws. Reinstall the top rack, and then slide it into place. Now that the new sensor is screwed into place, we're done here, so we can close the front door, and now we'll finish up in the back. You'll now need to connect the sensor's wires to the old wiring harness. In our case, the connectors differ, so we're going to need to cut off both terminals and splice the wires together. Use a pair of wire cutters to remove the end of the old wiring harness. Then, strip off about a 1/4-inch of the insulation material from each of the wires. On the new sensor, you'll need to remove the end as well. Pull back the shielding, and then cut off the end. Now, strip off about a 1/4-inch of the insulation on the end of the wire. Included in the kit are 2 wire nuts used to connect the wires together. In our case, it doesn't make any difference with regards to polarity, so you can hook each wire to whatever's most convenient. Align the wires, then thread on the wire nut. Do the same for the other wire. Afterwards, reinstall the back panel. Thread in the 2 retaining screws. Once the new oven sensor assembly is installed, plug in the stove, and then cook up a tasty meal. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. And be sure to check out our other repair videos on our website, on our Facebook page, and on our YouTube channel.